gonna pop into the manual mode. Look at those shifts, like instantaneous. Man, does it rock it out. That is for sure. So hold down the plus paddle. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm gonna be reviewing a 2022 Genesis GV70 with matte paint and the turbocharged V6. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to mention a huge shout out and thank you to the Genesis of Linden for giving me some time with this GV70. Check out the inventory in the description down below. And by the way, this car is available for sale if you're interested. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a vehicle, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 375 horsepower and then 391 pound-feet of torque, and I love the engine display. It just looks cool. Now let's go over the front end of this GV70. So first off, you guys can see here with the Genesis logo there in the center, and like I said, this one has matte paint on it. So this is the matte white that Genesis offers, and you can see it's just really distinctive. Compared to the gloss white, it shows off the body line so much more. It just looks fantastic. And then coming down below, you guys can see here with the daytime running lights, and then with the headlights, and then notice the accenting here down below at the parking sensor, and then also you can see at the front grille, you've got a camera there in the center. More parking sensors integrated in the front end, and then it's darker there at the bottom. And overall, it looks great from a front end perspective. So you can see so far, right, the matte paint just makes it look cooler. Now coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped on 21-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see here from the design perspective with the wheel, it's got a 5-spoke wheel, and I just love the kind of like intricate design there on each spoke itself. It looks pretty cool overall. Here's a quick look at the front suspension, and then notice here with the fender flare, and just look how everything just really just pops out. You guys can see the black trim right there, and then the mirrors. You can see the trim there on top of the door handles, and also around the windows as well, and then the rails there at the top. And again, you'll notice here with the matte paint, all of the body lines pop out quite a bit more compared to just a traditional white car. And I know that, well, we have a GV70 right over there. Hello, golf cart. So you can see there with the gloss white, just look at the difference compared to the matte white in terms of how everything just pops. So here's our key fob. We've got our remote start function, we have our lock, unlock, and then this is the parking assistance. We've got this to open up the hatch and then the light control. Cool thing about the parking assistance is that, well, first off, it helps you get into tight spaces and out of tight spaces, right, without having to like cram into your door, but it also has safety systems so you don't run anything over, so great system overall. Now, opening up the hatch here, you can see I've got this nice trim here, and then underneath, a little bit of extra storage space. We have a 12-volt there on the side with the netting as well. And you guys can see kind of like the bluish hue a little bit. And then notice that is for the seat to throw it down. You have one on either side. And yeah, that's everything for that. So you just press that and it'll lower back down. Now let's finish things up with the rest of the rear. So you guys can see here with the distinctive GV70 taillights. And also we have our 3.5T badge here to flex. You got the more powerful engine. Parking sensors along the bottom. Love the covers for the exhaust tips, and then notice the diffuser there at the bottom as well. And again, notice with the matte paint how just the body lines, all of that just pops a little bit more. Now here's the door panel in the rear. You guys can see here with the sunshade, and then notice here with the padding, and then you got the red stitching down below, and you can see the darker trim right here with the window control, and then notice the Genesis logo right there. And here are these seats. So notice how you've got the leather here on most of the seat, but then you've got the inserts here in the center portion. Red piping, red seat belts, definitely comes together to have a really cool appearance. And then this seat's a little bit further back than what I normally have it, so like that seat is a little bit more normal from that perspective. And then notice the netting right here. Got some vents, and then you can see there with the heated seats, and then the climate controls, outlets down below. And then we have our cup holder armrest set up, and let's head to the front. Now here's the front door panel. You can see again with the leather trim, then notice the stitching down below, and then the darker trim right here. All the window controls, the mirrors, they do power fold in, and then you got the memory seats. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's the front seat again. Notice the red stitching. And you can see the inserts here all down the center portion and with the piping. Notice we have all of our seat adjustments. We got our massaging seat function, pedal layout down below, and then you've got that for the hatch, the parking brake, hill descent control, stability control, auto stop start. And then notice here at the left on the dash, steering wheel is power adjustable. Let's pop in. So here is the steering wheel. You guys can see with the leather trim all around, and then it's perforated here on the sides. You can get a little bit of a better grip. Paddle shifters there on the back. You got our voice command phone controls, and then notice the stitching and everything here on the center portion with the Genesis logo. Definitely nice from a design perspective. Has steering assistance and adaptive cruise control, and then you can see with the turn signal light stock and then the windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Now here is the gauge cluster. We have this fully digital gauge cluster. So first off, we press the pages button and let us scroll through a few different menus. And you guys can see with 11,000 miles what this has been averaging. So that's pretty solid. And then from a drive mode perspective, you guys can see we've got a few different drive modes. We have our Sport Plus, which actually makes the exhaust a little bit louder. And we have our custom mode as well. And then the bolsters tighten when you go on the Sport Plus and Sport. Got our Comfort, Eco, and then Snow. And I love how the gauge cluster also kind of changes depending on what drive mode you have it in, and well, there you go. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, we pop it in reverse. We do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then you guys can see all the different camera viewpoints, and look at this cool like 360 degree viewpoint we have too. So definitely great from a camera perspective overall. And then just put it into park, and boom, it'll take it away. If you guys are wondering, if I go from reverse to drive, by the way, notice what it does. It actually shows me like moving. I just went forward a little bit just so you guys know, but that's pretty cool. As the rest of the infotainment system, response time is great with the screen. Of course, we got the sounds of nature, which is really important. Again, we got the massaging seat function, so if I press that button, notice we can get a massage. And yeah, overall response time of the screen is great. You can control it via dial if you don't want to use the touchscreen functionality on it, and there you go. Now notice the trim here with the dash just looks fantastic at all the stitching, and then look at the vent trim, how it goes around like the steering wheel area, and then also just all connects. Looks beautiful from a design perspective. And then down below we've got our climate controls. So we have dual zone climate, heated cooled seats, heated steering wheel, and then we've got internal controls to the infotainment system. Drive mode select for the parking sensors, camera button, and then you can see this is the cover for the wireless phone charger. You got some USBs, all that, and then analog controls for the infotainment system. And then you can see here with the dial shifter. So again, this is like that, and then this is like that, right? Pretty straightforward. Got the stitching and padding here on the center console. And that's the storage space there. And you can see the trim here on the side. And then we got a pretty normal glove box setup. And then finishing things here at the very top. As you guys can see, we have a nice premium headliner, which looks and feels fantastic. Panoramic sunroof too. And then you got the control for the sunroof right there. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Notice the heads-up display. Both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let's set off. Setting off in the GV70 with the 3.5 liter turbocharged engine. So first off, see how the handling is around this. And we'll actually pop it into the Sport Plus setting. Handles great. I just drove a 2.5 liter before this, and this doesn't really feel heavier. I thought that it might because of the engine, right? The front end might feel heavier, but it feels just as nimble, which is cool, right? That's definitely what you want. Gonna pop into the manual mode. Look at those shifts, like instantaneous. Man, does it rock it out. That is for sure. So hold down the plus paddle. It'll throw back into automatic mode. And we'll actually put it back into comfort, and we'll do our luxury driving. So I'll throw on the massaging seats. We got our whole body stretching now, and yeah, really comfortable from a ride quality perspective. Something else you notice here with the brakes, I'm actually a little bit too far back. There we go. Brakes are great too. So torquey. Sounds good too. I like the sounds you get with the V6. Continuing along with our driving, you can see our response to that transmission is. Let's talk about some other stuff. So seat comfort, I think the seats are really comfortable. I like the bolstering, and again, when it tightens in the Sport Plus mode, it definitely feels cool. And yeah, it's just a great luxury daily driver. Now, obviously, we got to talk about the topic of the video, which is the matte paint. Should you get the matte paint if you're going to get a new Genesis vehicle? And it's just going to depend. So yes, it does look better than a, you know, same car with gloss paint, right? I feel like that's pretty objective, right? It's such a cool looking paint. Just any paint color, right? This is the matte white, but the other matte colors they offer as well. Now, the one downside is you can't take it through a traditional car wash, right? Because of, you know, how the paint is on the car. If you do, it's going to run the paint. So that is a little bit of downside, but there's two solutions to make it so the matte paint can work. First off, you could put paint protection film over the entirety of the car, which is like a thin film, and then you could just wash it like normal. Or touchless car washes, and you should be fine, right? Double check with Genesis dealer on that one, right? Because I've personally never owned a car with matte paint, but that's what I've heard, is that if you just do touchless car washes, you should be fine, because you're not gonna have any brushes or anything going against the paint. And so just having the water and the soap and everything, again, should be fine. Double check. But yeah, if you do one of those two things, then you should be fine. And it's a cool looking color, and it makes the car just stand out so much more. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Genesis GV70. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Genesis of Linden for giving me some time with this GV70. Check the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in that next video.